Keith Lee's commitment to the little guy has earned him the title of the People's Champ. His viral food reviews are the hallmark of community, an effort to democratize the food space, and is now known as the Keith Lee Effect. The Keith Lee Effect. The Keith Lee Effect. The Keith Lee Effect.
The Keith Lee Effect.
This man here has got the whole of the UK fired up, hasn't he? Christ, over a jacket spud, come on. If you don't know who this is Keith Lee, right? He's one of the biggest food reviewers on TikTok. He's got like 16 million followers. His opinion can make or break a business. Now, whether you think that's right or wrong is up for debate. But he's got this country in a spin. Everyone's flipping going off on TikTok about this because he had a jacket potato with tuna, cheese and beans and he spat it out. Now I understand that that might not be people's preferred combination, but he bloody well spat it out. Grown man, come on, it's not that bad. I mean, I do feel a bit sorry for him. He's obviously had some bad recommendations for a start. I mean, you only have to take a look at the English breakfast that he had in his hotel. It was awful. And a lot of the stuff he seems to have tried is just gentrified slop. Now, if you've been on this channel long enough, you'll know that I champion British food. I honestly believe that we have some of the best food in the world, but you've got to know where to look. And whilst I believe that we have some of the best food and produce in the world, I mean, Hereford beef, Scottish langoustines. We make more cheese varieties than France now. Saltmarsh lamb, you've got Welsh leeks, all right? We have some of the finest produce in the world. But what I do concede is that we can have some very bad food. And the reason for that really is because yes, we have some really good food, but we are really good at fucking it up. And there's plenty of examples of this. I mean, just take the Scotch egg. Here are two pictures of a Scotch egg. One of them is mine, looks delicious, nice runny yolk, good sausage meat, fresh out the fryer, delicious. The other one is a more common variety you can get from any like supermarket, petrol station around the country. Would you eat that? I wouldn't. And some of this comes down to misconceptions of British food. And it's also kind of cultural as well, because I know that I could say to you as a fellow Brit, go to a Wetherspoons or a Toby Carvery and you're gonna have the best Sunday roast of your life. You'll laugh at me because it's not true. If you want a good Sunday roast, you're gonna have to make it at home or go to your favourite local pub. But to someone visiting this country, they're not gonna know that. So I'm a firm believer that our food is good, but you really have to dig deep. You have to know where to look. So I can only apologise to Keith Lee for his bad experience of British food, but I'm sorry, but that overly expensive gentrified slop that you tried is not indicative of what good British food is like. So I'm going to do a couple of jacket spuds, and I'm going to make a banging tuna mayo, and we're going to have it with cheese and beans. See what the fuss was all about. And to the Americans that take the piss out of us for eating baked beans, they're delicious, okay? And it's a struggle meal, right? Baked beans are not meant to be indicative of like the best of British cuisine. It's a struggle meal. Beans on toast, a jacket spud with beans and cheese, or in this case as well, some tuna mayo. All right, it's not meant to be gourmet. When you've got no money, these delicious sweet legumes will get you out of trouble. So instead of just hating on our food, try and understand it, because it's as much to do with culture as it is the food itself. So I'm gonna get my jacket spuds in, all right? Got two big fat boys there, which I've already pricked. You've got to make sure you prick them, okay? Because otherwise they'll explode. Let's turn this on. Beep. And I do need to season this up a little bit. I'm not using any fancy salt because it's not going to stick. So a little bit of just fine salt on there. Get those in, on. And I'm going to set this to, I'd say, oh shit, 170 for about 40 minutes. But obviously jacket potatoes are different sizes, so you're going to have to test it as you go along. But amongst me popping off and ranting about British food, there is actually a recipe in this. We're going to make a banging tuna mayo to go on our jacket spud. And it all starts with some tuna, okay, because it wouldn't be tuna mayo without flipping tuna, would it? Get rid of that water. Get that tuna into a bowl, and then start adding some mayo, okay? Now you don't want too much. Oh, that needs a shake. You just want enough to kind of bind it together, okay? Kind of break that tuna up. And this isn't strictly a recipe really, because I think with tuna mayo, it's kind of like cooking with feeling. Okay, taste as you go. See if you need something more of something else or less of something else. It's kind of how you like it really. There you go. See how the mayo's just kind of bound it together. It's not too sloppy. Now you could just add salt and pepper to that and Bob's your uncle, that's done. But you know, we want to take it up a notch and make it extra flavourful and add some textures in there. So I am going to add some salt and pepper. Go in with the pepper. A little pinch of salt. Be careful with the salt because depending on the mayo that you use, you know, different mayos have different salt content. So just start off with a little and taste as you go. And that is a very basic tuna mayo there, but we're going to take it up a notch. So I'm going to add some shallot. Now you could add red onion, spring onion, okay, but what I want is that crunch, but also that nice allium kick, that oniony flavour, that hum. So I'm just going to peel it and just kind of dice it up into little pieces. Okay, Okay, I'm not going to use all of this shallot, I don't think, so I'll use the rest for something else. And in it goes with our tuna. I'm just going to give it a quick taste, see how we're doing so far. Salty, got that onion kick, but it does need some sweetness. So I'm going to use some corn. Again, not going to use all of this. It's a big can of corn. You just want to add enough until it feels right. Next up, some celery, just a little touch, because we've got that kick from the shallot, that texture, we've got the sweet flavour of the sweet corn, and celery just adds a kind of freshness, I think. Just going to top and tail those, and I'm just going to dice this up nice and small. Then we're going to wedge that into our tuna mayo, give that a final mix up, and then just give it a quick taste, see if it needs any seasoning, a bit of extra salt, pepper, whatever you want. And that's a very basic, simple, tasty tuna mayo. And all I'll do with that is just cover it with cling film, whack that in the fridge. It does benefit from sitting a little bit, you know, just kind of help those flavours meld together. And that is a simple tuna mayo that will go in your sandwiches, or in this case, on top of a jacket spud that Keith Lee spat out. Now all that's left to do is to wait for our jacket spuds to be cooked, which we're about half an hour in. I think they're going to be another 10-15 minutes. But you just kind of have to test it as you go. But what I'm going to do is add the beans to my pan. Now you might be going, Adam, you've already had the beans out of the cupboard. Yes, I know, this is just for like filmography effect. Bye. Alright, so let's open these up and get my beans into a pan. Now some of you might be thinking, oh my God, they're not Heinz. Okay, I refuse to pay the money for Heinz beans. They are ridiculously expensive. And I don't care what you say. Heinz, what are you playing at? You make sauce and beans. All right, you need to calm your tits. One thing I will say, all right, you get brownie points for your mayo. It's good stuff, so's Hellman's. I won't scrimp on that, but your beans, they're not that great. Now I'm gonna warm the beans through. Now, key trick here is you've gotta do them slowly. You don't wanna boil the heck out of them because they'll go hard as flipping bullets. Just nice and gently. And you can add some stuff to that if you want. You can add like salt, pepper, you can add like butter, you can add some cheese to it, different spices, if you want. Personally, I don't think we need it because, you know, we're going to season up the potato. The tuna mayo's got seasoning in it. And to any Americans out there that come out with that old trope like, oh, you conquered half the world for spices, yet don't use them. Bollocks. It's absolute bollocks. I've got loads of flipping spices, and many kitchens in this country do as well. So that's absolute nonsense. Not every single dish that we make in this country needs to have a ton of spices in it for it to taste nice. What I am going to do, whilst those beans are warming through and that jacket spuds are finishing off, I'm going to grate up some cheese. Good, strong British cheddar. Okay, so I'm going to grate some of this up. Use whatever cheese you like, really. Right, I think our jacket spuds are ready. Let's get them out. Nice and crispy. Oh, shit. Let's get the tuna mayo out the fridge. Come on. Right, let's get these spuds open. Fluff it up a bit, get a knife in there, kind of zhuzh it around a bit. A little pinch of salt. And of course, lashings of butter. Wouldn't be right without butter, would it? Come on. Then cheese on first before the beans, and anyone that says otherwise is wrong. Okay, now we've warmed our beans through, so we're going to get some of those on. Because the hot beans are going to melt the cheese, so of course it makes sense. Use the whole tin, why not? Sod it. This is going to be way too much food for me, isn't it? And then lastly, the controversial tuna mayo. Just on the top like that. Yeah, this is going to be way too much food for me. Look at all the beans. The bean to potato ratio is off. And obviously just to give it a touch of elegance, a bit of greenery. And there's a jacket potato with cheese, beans and tuna mayo. Or as you Americans seem to want to call it, fizzy wickets and brickle-brackle. Shut up. Right, come on, let's give this a bash. See what it's like. Would I choose this combination myself? No. But is it as bad as Mr. Keith Lee says? Just gonna get a bit of everything. It's a bit cold now anyway because I'm shooting B-roll and photos and all that. Is it terrible? Not by a long stretch. Can I kind of see where Keith Lee's coming from? Yeah, a little bit, yeah. The flavour of that tuna doesn't quite go with the beans, so I kind of understand why he didn't like it. But it's not horrendous, it's not disgusting. I'd happily chow that down, and I am going to. And I refuse to believe that this is so far removed from anything that he's tried before. If he'd have had two different jacket potatoes, one with cheese and beans, the other one with tuna mayo, I think it'd have been fine. Or would he? Because I don't know, like, part of me thinks that this is a bit of a witch hunt against British food. But to spit it out is ridiculous, I think. But ultimately, it boils down to what I said at the beginning of this video. If you want to experience good British food, you've got to do your research to find the good stuff. British food is really good, but we've got to kind of work on getting it out there. Not petrol station Scotch eggs and shitty roast dinners from chain pubs. And I'm sorry, Keith Lee, you had a bit of a bad experience, but you know, I just feel like you had bad recommendations and you didn't do enough research. I'm sorry. I mean, your English breakfast that you had in the hotel was diabolical. What you should have done, instead of eating that gentrified crap you got from the hotel, you could have gone down Bethnal Green Road and got yourself a nice breakfast at E. Pelich's. But anyway, listen, I'm going to shoot off. I'll see you next time. Ta-ra for now.